Good evening. We will call the school board meeting of July 25th, September, July 25th, 2016. Sarah, would you please call the roll?
Hallett. Here. McKeon.
Here.
Haas.
Here.
Romansky.
Here.
Swanson.
Good evening.
Tucker. Here. And Bowerman.
Yes, ma'am. All right. We will move to recognition of any visitors here tonight that would care to speak to the board. We're not aware of. All right. We'll move on to consideration of the agenda. For the board's awareness, we have modified a couple of items. Well, actually, I think consent, so hold that thought. I'm looking for a motion to consider the agenda as presented.
So moved.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion on the agenda? All right. All those in favor of accepting the agenda as presented signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. Now we're on to consent. We have added a few items. You've been made aware of that. Items 5.11, 0.6, and 5.6 have all been modified. So we will handle those as part of consent, and then we're going to pull item 5.13 and handle that individually since we have Mr. Dorn here tonight. We want to give him a little attention. So with those changes, I'm looking for a motion to accept consent as modified.
Mary?
Thank you, Mary. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Matt. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. We have consent. All right. Item 5.13 that we pulled out. Scott, you want to come on up? So we are very fortunate. We've said a number of times that Shakopee is a great place to be, great place to live, great place to send our kids to school, and a great place to work, I would like to say. And because of that, we really attract some very good talent and retain good talent. And Scott is certainly an example of that. So we're very pleased to have you here tonight, and we're going to take action, hopefully, unless you really say something wrong. This is your big test.
You guys can go first.
To present Scott for approval for his position as assistant principal at the high school, effective, actually, retroactively effective. So we're very pleased to have you here tonight, Scott. Would you care to say a few words?
I thank you guys for the opportunity. I think the work we've done, I mentioned this in a couple of the interview processes that I went through, the student-driven direction of this district is like nothing I've ever seen before. I've been in a few different districts and worked with probably 11 intimately within my career. And I think the student forward, the engagement, the top-down attention that is being paid for instruction first, students first, and then the rest of us second is, again, like nothing I've ever seen before. So to be a part of it, it's an honor and a privilege, and I won't take it lightly. So thank you.
Great. Any comments?
Thank you.
Yes, other than congratulations. Great. I'm looking for a motion to approve Scott Dorn as Shakopee High School assistant principal.
So moved.
Thank you, Mary. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Sean. Any further discussion?
I think we've taken family photos for
That's
the
right.
others, so
That's right.
that
We
seems
did that.
appropriate.
Yeah.
Unless you want to come up with it.
Yeah.
It's my wife Debbie, if you haven't met Debbie.
Pass this.
Well, don't forget to come back.
The pause button. After the photo, come on, but next.
Both sides.
Yeah.
Okay.
You wore Shakopee attire, that's smart. Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Congratulations, Scott.
Promise you
Well, you're welcome to stay, but you don't feel like you have to.
Promise her nice day.
Bye.
photography.
All right, let's move on with item, shall we just go in order? Right, okay. Item 7.1, and this is going to be the acceptance and award of a bid for a construction project. We've got a couple resolutions we're going to handle. So Scott and Chris, you're going to come forward. I don't know if Mike, you joining them? Who else coming up? Maybe it's just Chris, I don't know. All the process has hit a significant milestone.
Has. Thank you, board members, Dr. Thompson, Dr. Bezek. Again, we're here for two motions tonight. On bid day last Tuesday, 2 o'clock, we accepted the base bids for the project for the high school expansion, and at 3 o'clock, we accepted the alternate bids. We had a series of alternates that were adds to the project to enhance the project. and get a flavor of to what the scope was for those. We opened all the bids at 3 o'clock and read the base bid and alternate bids together. The strategy why we did that was the base bid number is such a large number, in excess of 70 million, was to really give contractors a chance to assemble a bid that was quality and accurate and time to get it in on time. And then that next hour gave them time to assemble their alternate bids, which were of lesser dollar values. So the strategy was successful. We got 6 bids for both the base bid and the alternate bid from each of the 6 contractors. So I guess moving forward, we're looking for a recommendation for acceptance of the base bid to Shaw Lundquist Associates for $73,088,000. They were the successful low bidder on the base bid project. I don't know if you want to handle these per.
Go ahead and finish with the alternates. And then
Sure.
Take one at a time.
And as I noted, we got 6 alternate bids from the 6 contractors who submitted base bids as well. Unfortunately, all of those bids in each of the alternate categories were over budget. And evaluating that with staff and the Bach team, we feel it's better at this time to reevaluate those, repackage, and possibly reduce scope and go out to rebid at a future time.
And that'd be your recommendation then on the alternates?
Correct.
Okay. All right. So then we're gonna take these, Sarah, I think, as 2 discrete resolutions.
That would be great.
We've passed that out for the benefit of the boards. You have those in front of you. I'm gonna ask for someone to make the motion. We're gonna do these one at a time. The first one being to accept the low bid for Shaw. That's just to summarize it. Ask for that motion. Whoever makes that motion, have them read this into the record, just for clarity purposes. Do I have someone to make that motion?
Move.
Scott, okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mary. Scott, would you read the first resolution?
Yes. Resolution awarding contract for Shakopee High School additions. Whereas, in accordance with applicable law and through public notice, Independent School District number 720 advertised for and invited bids for Shakopee High School additions, which bids were to be opened on July 19th, 2016, and whereas the project was bid in 2 bid packages, one for the base bid and one for the alternates, and whereas base bids were sought for all work contained in the specifications for the project, and whereas the base bids for the project were opened and tabulated on July 19th, 2016, according to law, and the following base bids were received. Shaw Lundquist Associates, Inc., $73,088,000. Knudsen Construction Services, Inc., $73,796,000. Graham Construction Services, Inc., $76,759,000. Stahl Construction Company, $77 million. LS Black Constructors, Inc., $77,493,000. Adelson and Peterson Construction, $77,810,000. Whereas the lowest responsible and responsive bid was the base bid submitted by Shaw Lundquist and Associates, Inc. Now therefore, let it be resolved by the School Board of Independent School District number 720 as follows. Number 1, that the bid submitted by Shaw Lundquist Associates, Inc. on July 19th, 2016 was the lowest responsible and responsive bid. Number 2, that the contract for Shakopee High School additions be and hereby is awarded to Shaw Lundquist Associates, Inc. 3, that the school district's consultant and/or architect is hereby directed and authorized to retain the bid bond security of Shaw Lundquist Associates, Inc. until the appropriate contract has been executed.
Scott, so that's the resolution awarding the low bid to Shaw. Is there any discussion? Mary?
What was the estimate of the project?
Between 74 and 75?
Okay, but it was supposed to be, isn't it?
I'm not sure what the question is, Mary.
It's where it should
Yes,
be.
yes.
Yeah, yes.
The bids were in line with expectations.
Okay.
I mean, a few high, a few low, so. Okay, any additional questions? All right. All those in favor of the resolution as read awarding the contract to Shaw Lundquist, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion So now we'll move to the second resolution, which is dealing with the alternate bids, since we did this in two parts. I'll be looking for a motion to adopt the resolution as provided in front of us. So whoever does that, I can move that as well. So do I have someone willing to make that motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Matt. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Sean. Matt, would you read this resolution, please?
Yes. Resolution rejecting all alternate bids for Shakopee High School additions. Whereas, in accordance with applicable law and through public notice, Independent School District 720 advertised for and invited bids for Shakopee High School additions, which bids were to be opened on July 19th, 2016. And whereas, the project was bid in two packages, one for the base bid and one for the alternates. And whereas the base bids for the project were open and tabulated on July 19th, 2016, according to law. And whereas the alternate bids for the project were open and tabulated on July 19th, 2016, according to law. And the alternate bids received are detailed on Exhibit A attached hereto. And whereas the bids received for the alternates considering the lowest responsible bid for the base bid exceeds the school district's budget for the project. And whereas the instruction to bidders expressly provides at section 5.2 that owners shall have the right to reject any or all bids. And whereas due to budgetary concerns, the school district desires to reject all alternate bids and rebid. And whereas the school board believes that it will obtain a better bargain by investigating, redesigning, and repackaging the alternates by rejecting all bids and rebidding the alternates. Now therefore, be it resolved by the School Board of Independent School District 720 as follows. Number one, that all alternate bids submitted for the Shakopee High School addition project received on July 19th, 2016 be and hereby are rejected. Two, that the school district's consultant and or architect is hereby authorized and directed to return the bid bonds of the bidders solely with respect to their alternate bids submitted.
Thank you, Matt. Are there any additional comments, questions, or discussion on the second resolution rejecting the alternate bid? Hearing none, all those in favor of the resolution as read signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. We have followed your recommendations. We have the low bid for the base, and we will repackage, regroup on the alternates. Thank you for all your work thus far, and it will continue. Thank you very much.
Thank you both.
This is big. This is big. All right, thank you, everybody. You have to say, how's it feel to spend $73 million? All right, let's move on to item 7.2. I guess that's me. We're talking a lot about facilities tonight, so item 7.2, for the benefit of those in the room and anyone watching at home, this is in follow-up to discussions with the city relative to the new city community center with the ice rinks that are being built, and working out the details of the agreement with the city on the use of ice by the school district. We know and are aware that the city passed the agreement, how long ago was that? Somebody help me. A couple months ago, or maybe 6 weeks ago?
6 weeks.
6 weeks, ballpark. And they passed that on to us for our approval. We reviewed that both internally as well as with council. And while all of the major terms were agreeable, I would say, or at least that's in the discussion thus far, there were a few terms in the agreement that we were uncomfortable with. We've had some offline dialogue relative to those for the benefit of those watching. They dealt with the terms for termination of the agreement. The proposal has always been to make sure that the city and the district were on equal footing, and we've retained that in terms of what we are proposing as revisions to that agreement. That simply allows both parties to have the certainty and security of advance notice, sufficient advance notice for any kind of termination prior to the 10-year expiration of the agreement, such that, in our case, let's use the school district as the example, such that we could not be notified of termination just in advance of the hockey season, or in the middle of the hockey season, because the way the language was written, it provided for that potential. Now, we all think that that would likely not happen, but contracts are written to avoid confusion and to prevent those kinds of things from occurring. So the language modifications that have been discussed and that are in the agreement that has been shared with you guys, you've seen the red lines, really address those elements. That's the base changes to the agreement. All right? So the intent tonight is to approve that modified version of the agreement, send that back to the city for the city to respond, and hopefully they will understand based upon some dialogue that these are not significant changes in terms of the material terms, but it puts us on the same page and gives us both some more security. What questions might you have, if any? Okay. So what I'm looking for is a motion to approve the ICE agreement that has been shared with you with the modifications in the red line that you've seen. That's the motion I'm looking for.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Sean. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Tony. Any additional discussion?
Just thank you to our chair for extra effort in getting to the finer points of the agreement and making sure that it was equitable for both parties.
Thank you. Anything else? All right. So we are acting to approve the amended ICE agreement with the city. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. We will now take that, Sarah and I have discussed, we will pass that on to the city. Actually, I will facilitate that. The city hopefully will be able to take action soon, and we'll have a completed ICE agreement. And we'll be confirming that with everyone shortly. Okay. I think that's all we have in terms of major items on the agenda. Rod, do we have anything else?
Nothing new, Sarah, you
No.
Okay. Anything else? I'm not gonna go around the horn tonight because this was kind of an added-on meeting anyway, so I think we're probably pretty good. Any additional items, any comments from anyone? Mary?
The elementary core planning teachers, it's a, other teachers
Yes.
met on July 21st, and we will discuss the recommendations at our work session in August.
Okay.
And also, there is no longer a cooperative. It is now, Intermediate District 28 Southwest Metro.
Southwest Metro is no longer a co-op. Very good. And you've been affiliated with that group for a long time, many years.
Many years.
Many years. Thank you for your efforts doing so. Anyone else? All right. So we have upcoming meetings. We have the Academies of Shakopee Ford NGL Steering Committee, which meets on a regular basis. Their next meeting coming up on August 2nd. We have our next board meeting coming up on the 15th of August. And good grief, we have all district back to school day already, August 18th. That's already on the radar screen. And the recognition is that because many of us choose to attend that if we're available, there could be a quorum present, just so that the public's aware. All right. Can we break a record tonight?
We might have.
All right. I'm looking for a motion. No? You've had fast ones? All right. Yeah, she would know. All those, I need a motion to adjourn.
Move.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Let me ask first. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, we are adjourned.